I'm going on year 5 in New Braunfels, and in that time, I've seen a lot of stuff. More accelerated since the end of 2020, some pros and definitely some cons of living in New Braunfels. So today I'm giving you the flat out truth, what it's actually like to live in New Braunfels, the pros and cons, because that's what we do here on this channel. We try to be as transparent as possible. This is not a Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. This is not sunshine and lollipops. We're giving you real-time information you can actually use. If you guys are new here to my channel, thank you so much for hopping aboard, because every week we're doing just this, trying to provide you with relevant content about what it's like to live in New Braunfels. And today you're going to find out what it's like to live in New Braunfels, the update, the absolute truth, the pros and cons of living in New Braunfels. So let's start with what makes New Braunfels New Braunfels. We are a water town here in New Braunfels, no question about it, no doubts. 2 recreational rivers, 3 lakes, our world famous water park, Schlitterbahn, and last year we had a chance to dip our toes into our water world. It's fun, it is a blast floating on the Comel River, then the payoff with the tube chute there, and if you're a little bit more adventurous, then hit the Guadalupe River. Canoeing, kayaking, paddleboard, even tubing. Schlitterbahn, I'm telling you, is just flat out fun, whether you're a kid or you're a kid at heart. But get there early if you want to hit as many of those rides as possible. Canyon Lake is relaxing and adventurous. Jet ski, boating, fishing, kayak, paddleboard, swim. We also have smaller lakes and ponds like the one here at Landa Park. That definitely adds to one of the pros of living in New Braunfels. The water is also a con. Rod, come on, man. How could you call water a con? Well, when it starts disappearing, which leads us right into our next pro-con combination, the weather. Sure, man, it's warm here. It feels nice to walk around in the winter in shorts and a t-shirt. We do get a freaky February day or two when it's icy or it snows or it's cold or in a combination of the 3, but that's a one-off. It's definitely not standard, but people move here because of the year-round warmth. It's summertime average temperature in the 90s, and the winter it's in the 60s. But then comes the summer, which lands weather in the con category. Remember the water we just talked about that's disappearing? That's because we're going on year 3 of a drought. Triple-digit temperatures during the day for 4 months during the summer and into September. Second week in September, this is what we're looking at. The extreme heat and dry conditions have dried up the Comel Springs at Landa Park. It shut down our pond we just showed you. This is what it looks like now. The lake at Landa Park, with the exception of fishing, has been rendered pretty much useless since August because of low water levels. Canyon Lake continues to hit record water level lows. The lowest Canyon Lake has been since it was filled back in the 1960s. And when water disappears, so do people. Labor Day weekend, crowds at the parks and the rivers was sparse in comparison to previous holiday weekends. Sure, people were still out and about, but on the rivers, it wasn't tube to tube, and we had mostly empty picnic tables and barbecue grills because we have a burn ban in effect that continues to be in effect because of our drought. I know many of you have already moved from California to New Braunfels, or you're getting ready to move from California to New Braunfels, and you've already been through a long drought in California. Now add 15 to 25 degrees more than what you're used to. Can you handle that heat? I know at least one family that moved from California to New Braunfels that cannot handle the heat, and as a result, they plan on moving out of New Braunfels in 2024. Water restrictions are a common thing in New Braunfels because of our drought conditions. You can either water your grass once a week if you still have grass, or once every other week, depending on what stage of the water restriction that we're in. Which is why we're seeing more of this. People are calling landscapers and say, hey, pull the St. Augustine or the Bermuda grass out of my yard. I can't take it anymore. Let's xeriscape, or it's pronounced, I believe, xeriscape. So maybe you have crushed granite and you have mulch, maybe some stone, but that's becoming more common here. There's one thing that can make all this moot. El Nino is with us this year. It paid us a visit with above average rainfall through April this year and is expected to come back to New Braunfels at the end of the fall, winter with, again, above average rainfall. But who knows? Weather is such a crapshoot, and it's can be crappy too. What's that song? I wanna know, have you ever seen the rain? Yes, we have. We do see the rain in New Braunfels, typically between November and May. Weather, water, and now the pro that gives New Braunfels that Hallmark movie channel vibe. And that is our history and our charm, our historical buildings, our historic traffic circle, our main plaza, our historic district of Green. We have buildings that date back all the way back to the 1800s when New Braunfels was founded by a German prince. What accents our charm and history to me is our hyper local business downtown and in Green. No franchises, no corporations, local, and that's really what's unique, serving what's unique and selling what's unique about New Braunfels. Now the city is adding to the charm and adding to the history with new projects underway, including Co-op Marketplace, which is downtown, and that'll include live entertainment, open spaces for families to gather. It'll include retail and restaurants. There's also the $1 billion River Mill project underway near downtown, right off the banks of the Guadalupe River, a planned mixed-use development with retail, restaurants, open spaces near the river, office space, apartments, and a luxury boutique hotel. Both projects preserve our history and our charm by repurposing these structures. So it's pretty hard to find a con when you're preserving history, so I'm not going to even try to find one. Location is a big pro of living in New Braunfels. We are between two large cities, Austin and San Antonio, and both airports. And I like that because whenever I need to fly out, I'm only about 20-25 minutes away from San Antonio. And the great thing about living in between San Antonio and Austin is that we're not living in either of those two cities and not having to deal with the bottleneck traffic every day, or in Austin's case, the higher property taxes. But about 70% of our working residents commute to either San Antonio or Austin areas for work, which is a con because they're in traffic every day. Now they're commuting to those areas every day because New Braunfels does not yet have those higher paying jobs that either Austin area or the San Antonio area has right now. But the Chamber of Commerce's economic development team is recruiting higher paying jobs, including IT. Our city amenities are big pros of living in New Braunfels. In fact, I put our amenities up against anybody in South Central Texas. We mentioned our recreational rivers and lakes earlier. We also have award-winning parks like the one we're at today, Atlanta Park and Fisher Park on the city's east side. We have big splash pads for the kids. We have hiking and biking trails. And one of my favorite amenities in New Braunfels is our fitness center called Doss Rec. It has everything. It's my second home. Are you kidding me? 2 pools, 1 large competitive pool, a smaller pool, splash pad for the kids, a slide, of course, the fitness stuff, the free weights, the machines. You have cardio machines as well. You have an indoor track, walking or running. You have pickleball and basketball courts. You have group fitness classes, and you have an extra exercise place outdoors. So we have water, weather, history, charm, local, location, and the next pro-con combo is the people. Whether it's neighbors helping neighbors, business owners, or people at the park, I'm always noticing people here in New Braunfels waving, unsolicited waves. I find the people here in New Braunfels to be down to earth, to be very friendly and trusting. The con is we have more people moving from out of state, so you never know what kind of baggage those folks are bringing in. But we do know the families we work with, we're always asking them, hey, why you want to move to New Braunfels? And 10 times out of 10, they're saying because we want to be around like-minded people. So if you didn't know that and you live here and you're worried about people moving in and changing things, at least you have that peace of mind. Let's have a candid conversation about the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. They want to talk about the weather all the time or the water, but let's talk about growth in New Braunfels, explosive growth since 2021. We've gained 14,000, I mean, not making this up, as per the census report, 14,000 new residents in New Braunfels since 2021, easily sailing past the 100,000 population mark. And growth means new things, and new can be a pro depending on which side of the fence you're standing on. New residential developments popping up all over New Braunfels and more on the way, including a new lake community and a new master plan community featuring 5,000 homes, retail, restaurants, new schools, office space, green space. I'm telling you, we've grown quite a bit since our last pros and cons video last year. We have more city amenities on the way, including a 125-acre sports park featuring softball, baseball, and soccer fields. That's on the east side of New Braunfels. And we also have an observation deck that will complete Mission Hill Park at the top of the hill in New Braunfels. More green space, more parks, which is what you guys are always asking for. That's coming to New Braunfels inside our ongoing master plan community, Veramendi, where they're working on 3 large regional parks, each one said to be larger than Landa Park, if you can believe that. And each one of those will be open to the public. There's huge growth at our big box shopping area called Creekside, where a $500 million mixed-use development is taking shape. We'll see small cottage homes, luxury shopping there, restaurants, multifamily housing, and even a farmer's market. We've added new restaurants. We're adding a new furniture store, new schools, a new fire station is on the way. So growth can be new, it can be exciting, it can also be a con for obvious reasons. You add more things, you add more traffic, longer commute times, though the city has added more lanes to one of our main loops and also to I-35, and new lanes are being added to the secondary roads in town. So infrastructure is being addressed, of course, not as fast as we'd like it to be, but it is being addressed. But all of this growth causes stress on our water supply. It's not just the drought. No, guys, it's not just the weather. It's growth as well. Where are we getting all this water for all this growth? That's a question you guys ask all the time, and it's a legitimate question. New Braunfels Utilities, or NBU, which provides water for most of the city, says we have enough water for decades. NBU says we tap into several different resources for water, including the Edwards Aquifer, the Trinity Wells Aquifer. We also have contracts with the city of Seguin, the Guadalupe Blanco River Authority, and the Guadalupe River. NBU says that we have over 16 billion gallons of water in supply every year, and then so far to date, we've only used about 5 billion gallons. Doing a quick shift back to traffic, a pro and a con. State Highway 46 is slow going during peak periods, but the state is working on plans to add more lanes. The con, those new lanes could take up to 10 years. Growth has also caused utility bills to increase. Our fast growth is forcing the city to upgrade its infrastructure, and that cost is being passed on to, us, the residents. Another big con from our growth is the sharp increase in home prices in New Braunfels. In March 2020, our median home price in New Braunfels was $245,000. In December 2022, we peaked out at almost $400,000. Now, since then, inflation, higher interest rates, and a lot less buyer demand has softened home prices in New Braunfels, but we're still up over $100,000 from March 2020. Now, market values have softened, have decreased since January, which means property taxes have softened as well because your taxable value has decreased. And you're saying to me, look, we have 110,000 parcels in Comal County, about 30,000 people protest every year. So those of you know what I'm talking about probably protested your property taxes coming into this year because values dropped. So you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who say, no, my property taxes haven't decreased, you either didn't protest or you added to your house, you added to your structure. New construction homes have helped soften home prices here in New Braunfels because builders continue to build and those homes continue to sit on the market without buyers. And then the builders say, hey, listen, we're going to throw all these discounts and incentives at you, and you can take money off the actual price of the home, which eventually impacts the comparables, the comps, the market value in the area. You also get help with your property taxes, which is another pro of living in New Braunfels. If you're 100% disabled veteran, you don't pay property taxes. Our general state homestead exemption could increase to $100,000 in 2024, and there's a homestead exemption for seniors. And get this, cha-ching here. If you live within the boundaries of Comel Independent School District, you get an additional 20% local school homestead exemption. That's growth in New Braunfels in a nutshell. Pretty big nutshell. Now, if you want to get away from the growth in New Braunfels, the concentrated growth within the city, just drive out to one of our other pros of living in New Braunfels, our hill country. I mean, just take one of our main loops and all of a sudden your blood pressure will decrease significantly. Look at these views, or this view can be your backyard. All you're seeing is this. It is absolutely stunning postcard views every day. The con to these views, what when you build, if you're thinking about building a house, you're going to pay extra for your foundation because of our topography. So make sure that you know that before you buy your land. A lot of you come here, you fall in love with the view, oh my God, I gotta have it. Then I ask you how much you have for the build. I said, you can't buy a brick for that. So make sure that you know the cost to build on that view. What makes New Braunfels such a magnet for families with kids under 18? It's twofold. Number one, our schools are year in and year out ranked among the state's best. Number two, there's year-round events and activities. There's always something happening in New Braunfels, including parades, a county fair, fireworks, Christmas tree lighting. Our events are a reflection of our German and Hispanic heritages. There's always something happening at the Civic and Convention Center downtown. We have a weekly farmers market. The only con coming out of this one is you just don't have enough time on the weekend or the day to fit everything in. If you like live music, then chalk that up as another pro of living in New Braunfels. Live music is everywhere in New Braunfels, from our well-known venues to our lesser-known places, from our up-and-coming entertainers to our legendary names. New Braunfels is live music. Music usually leads to food. So let's talk about the food in New Braunfels. The restaurants here reflect our German and Hispanic heritages. We also have a ton of Tex-Mex. We're all about brisket, burgers, ribs, and breakfast tacos. We also have a premium steakhouse in downtown, and a popular Italian restaurant in the Hill Country. There's no shortage of local bakeries, including the oldest one in Texas, known for its strudel. The con is, if you don't like or eat red meat, then you're kind of SOL. You know, you got salmon and tuna or other seafood. If you don't eat that even, then you just don't have that much option outside of meat in New Braunfels. But at this time in the video, your plate should be full of all the pros and cons of living in New Braunfels. Does this information help you out? What are your pros of living in New Braunfels? If you've lived here a while or just moved here maybe the last couple of years, what are your cons of living in New Braunfels? And if you plan on moving here, I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can email me, you can call me, or you can shoot me a text. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching our videos, and we'll see you on the next one.